I've got two really simple levers and then a third principle at the end of this video that I'm going to share with you. I guarantee is going to grow your business, and they're probably things that you're not doing. Hey everyone, it's John Cheplack, and I had snow in my courtyard in Vegas just a couple days ago. So it's sunny and clear, which is beautiful. Bluebird. Anyways, what I want to talk to you about is, where, and it depends on where you're at in your business. Some people, they want that $100,000 income. They're shooting for, how can I make 100,000? There's people that, a lot of my clients are, the multi 6-digit revenue and 7-digit income. And I'm not talking about gross income. I'm talking about a net income. Our industry is, say, whether you're a real estate broker, owner, manager, team leader, or an agent, it's very interesting. We throw the big volume things out there, but remember this, you guys, we're in a for-profit business, okay? And I'm in the profit business. I have clients that make multi 7 digits outside the industry. I do a lot of coaching with entrepreneurs that run really, really big businesses. And what I want to share with you is it's great to want to be a rock star, and it's great to, everyone wants to be a rock star, everyone wants to be a pro athlete. And what I do, I'll take you inside my world. I know the revenues that I want to make and will continue to make. I'm real clear. But I know how I have to behave. So who do I study? Well, what I study are pro athletes. What I study are literal rock stars. What you can study is movie stars. And so I want to take you inside their world. And what do? There's two things that a rock star will do, a true rock star. My good friend Ed Rollin is the lead singer of Collective Soul. We've been friends for 11 years, and we have a great friendship, but I also watch him in his craft. I've watched him record a song. I've watched him sit in the studio. I've watched what he does after he performs, okay? You take a look at Tiger Woods. What does Tiger Woods do? What does Tom Brady do? What do actors and actresses do? Let me share with you what they do. So the very first thing that they do is this. And I'd ask you this, after your performance, after you were on stage, after you were at a listing presentation, after you did a recruiting interview, after you went through an exit interview, after you did a buyer interview, after any time, see, we are all performers. We're all performing, and we are all in the enrollment business. We're enrolling people into having an experience with us. And your experience may be coming to my rock show. Your experience may be coming and watching me play at the Masters. Your experience may be watching me play at the Super Bowl. And you know what? I want to talk in those tunes because, you take a look at what these people have done. They didn't just wake up and they were a rock star. They didn't just wake up and they were a Super Bowl champion. There's habits that they have. And I want to share with you what they do. So you take a look at Kobe Bryant. You take a look at Michael Jordan. Do the studies. After practice and even after games, what did they do? There's two things, okay? They'll go back and take more shots and they watch game film. They'll go back and take more shots, sometimes 1,000 shots, 100 shots. Tiger Woods plays the Masters, okay? He plays 18 holes of golf. Now, one of the things, if you study the physiological aspects of a human being and what takes energy, people may say golf is easy. Well, you walk 4 or 5 miles, okay? Well, it's a casual stroll. That's okay. Well, do you understand the energy that is exhausted when you're in a competitive environment, whether it's golf or whether it's football or anything, when you're on a listing presentation? Like if you're not walking out of a listing presentation, if you're not walking out of an interview with a prospect that's going to hopefully join your organization, you suck. You suck. Because energy is everything. Energy is everything. But the point that I want to make is, where does Tiger Woods go after he's played 18 holes of golf at the Masters? He goes to the driving range. Where does Tom Brady go after a practice? He gets a receiver who wants to be an all-pro receiver, and that receiver's running routes, running routes. Jerry Rice was notorious for it, running routes, running routes. And, if you don't know football, Jerry Rice, a Hall of Famer wide receiver, okay? He won Super Bowls. Well, if you want to win Super Bowls, if you want to get paid like a pro, you got to behave like one. You've got to behave like one. And so my friend Ed Roland, after, Collective Soul goes on and plays, there's a buffer period. They go off stage and they have a buffer period back in the green room, and they sit there and they download what took place, what worked, what didn't work. So my question to you, when you perform, and if you don't think it's performing, then you need to check yourself, because you're not a pro. You're just not a pro. You need to look at that. See, we are all presenters. We are all public speakers in some way, shape, or form. If you're in a sales environment, you're a presenter, and you need to be skilled, okay? And you need to download afterwards and watch your game film. So if you're a real estate agent, watch your game film. Take a look at the emails that you sent out. What did you read? Now put your socks in the shoes of the buyer or a seller that you're running your messaging at. Put your socks in shoes. Put your socks in the shoes of a buyer or seller that's looking at a Facebook video or a Facebook post. Or put your socks in the shoes of a real estate agent that's reading your description of a property. That's your game film. Take a look at the text messages that you're sending out to leads. Read it back. Man, leads suck. That's a bad lead. Really? Well, look at your game film. Your game film is what you said to them. Okay? Was that compelling enough? Was that compelling enough to get them to want to reach back out to me? So what I want to encourage you to do is, after you go on that listing presentation, whether it's tapes or videos or a podcast. See, everyone's so caught up in my morning routine. Well, one of the things that I learned as an executive running a big company and operating with a chief operating officer and the president and the CEO, after every single company event, after every single meeting that we had, the chief operating officer, GM, president, CEO, we would sit in a room and do a download of how did that meeting go? What worked, what didn't work, okay? So what I want to encourage you to do is, if you're someone that's struggling, you want to make or you're doing good, you want to make multi 6 digits. If you're someone that hasn't hit 6 digits, if you're someone in multi 6 digits and you want to go to 7 digits, or you want to go to multi 7 digits, what you need to do is, after you're done, you need to go back and practice your craft, okay? I mean, you've just removed yourself from the moment instead of saying, oh, that really worked, it didn't work. You have a consciousness what worked in that listing presentation, what worked in that interview, what worked in your sales meeting. I mean, after my sales meetings, I had 100 agents in a real estate office. I would do my sales meeting for 1 hour and I was exhausted. I was thrashed, because I brought everything that I had, and I left the office and I went and sat with myself and I reflected on it, and then I went back to my training. Let me give you an example of what I do personally. So, watch your game film. Tiger Woods watches his stroke on film, right? I've sat with Ed in his studio, okay, his recording studio, with a guy at the soundboard where they're listening to drum tracks, or they're listening to vocals and playing them back and playing them back and playing them back. Plays them back for one song. You would be blown away. And this is a multi-platinum rock star, okay? Played on the stages at Woodstock. And you would be blown away at what goes into one song. One song. Well, that's his craft. It's mastery. I'll give you an example from a business element. One of my large teams that closed about 800 transactions. Mastery. It's about mastery. That's his theme this year. You know what they don't care what's going to roll out. They don't care what's new. They're not going to chase anything except for mastery. They've made an agreement within this highly productive team, this business, okay, that does more than most brokerages, that they are rolling nothing new out. Absolutely nothing. The conversation and the theme is mastery. See, what's happening is we're training past the action. We're in avoidance. We're training past the action. Oh, well, next game. No, the game's over. The round of golf is over. That performance at this stadium or this auditorium is over. We're going to sit down and we're going to download what worked, what didn't work. the New England Patriots, I don't care that they won the Super Bowl. I guarantee you they have been deep in the film of the game. Watch your game film. Don't be lazy or stay where you're at. See, these are the tiny hinges that swing big doors. Well, what do? Let me give you an example of what I do. I get the privilege, okay? And it's just true. It's a privilege. And that's what drives me. People say, what motivates you? What motivates me? What gives me anxiety is and it's a healthy anxiety. It's the privilege of working with super, super high performers. 60 coaching calls, Monday through Wednesday. And if you don't know me, well, I work with people that do a shit ton of business. And they're really, really smart. Let me give you a tip. What do I do? So what happens is I work primarily with leaders, all right? And so it's interesting. There's typically a theme that's going on. I think a lot of it has to do with, I'm pretty clear in my personality. I'm not all things to all people. And you know how that one works out. Try being all things to all people. You'll be nothing to no one. I mean, I'm super, super clear, okay? I'm super, super clear on my message. I'm super clear on who I want to work with. And so what happens is there's a lot of times a theme of what people are experiencing. So I'll reflect on 20 coaching calls that will take place tomorrow, starting at 4 a.m. And I'll reflect immediately when I'm done with my coaching calls and say, okay, what was the theme today? Was it, and again, I'm not a theorist that has to go to a book and figure out how to do it. I was just having a conversation with a super productive person just about 5 minutes ago on Messenger, okay? And I said, don't worry, I've been where you're going. Okay, I know the problems, okay, that are going to show up. I know the good things that are going to happen. I know the signs of what's coming around the corner. Just trust me, walk through the doorway, because I've been over a ton of offices. But that doesn't mean I haven't stopped learning. So let's say, for example, the theme today in coaching calls was culture. Well, okay, then I'm going to go back to, my resources of other brilliant minds. And so here's one right here, ironically, Netflix and the amazing culture they've built. So I'm going to tap into that. I'm just going to open it up and start reading. And what I know about that is intention and purpose. When you are in intention and when you are clear on your purpose and you're aligned with the people that you're working with and serving them, the right page is going to open up, period. It's going to open up. So maybe there's a culture conversation, and another one, the culture code. These are my go-tos. Before I do anything else, after I'm done with a block of coaching calls, exhausted, freaking exhausted, because I have to show up for those 30 minutes. People invest $600 for 30 minutes. I better show up, okay? So maybe it has to do with scaling their business, okay? And that's the theme. And so you know what? Boom, here we go. Blitz scaling. Or, there's so many other. There's rocket fuel. There's many others. If the vein of the conversation and the energy of what my clients need has a theme, I'm going to go to my resources, okay? I'm going to the driving range. I'm going to run my routes. I will tell you this, a big part, and this is where you decide to grow or you don't, is when you come to understand you're not in the real estate business anymore. Most people are stuck, and when I talk to them, they're just stuck transactionally, and they've not made that shift to understand that you're in the human resource, human development, human attraction, human behavior business. And so that comes up a lot. I have personally invested my financial resource and human resource to sit with the best in the human behavior spaces, from a Gary Zukav to a Debbie Ford. Gary Zukav wrote The Heart of the Soul, Seat of the Soul, Mind of the Soul. He's been on Oprah more than anyone. I need to understand human behavior. And so when we're thematically in a place where, listen, you're in the moment creation business as a leader. You're not in the getting people to sell more shit. That's your mistake. That's where you're missing it. And I can say it because I've led organizations that have gotten big numbers. I coach people that get big numbers, and it's proven. See, I don't come out with the Mickey Mouse Club message, because the Mickey Mouse Club message is going to stop you here, okay? It's about human behavior. That's the lever, Okay? So when the human behavior comes up, I go back to good old Alan Deutschman's Change or Die, where they compared human beings, okay, and said, well, what if someone's not performing in their work, right? Someone's not performing in their work, and they were threatened that if, you're not going to be fired, you're going to die. They proved, watch this, they proved like that it doesn't matter, because you know what? 95% of all people that have a heart ailment and go through a major episode or have cancer, within 12 months, they're back to their old habits. So threatening death isn't even enough, but we KPI people because someone who hasn't run and scaled something big continually, sure, you can get away with it for a little while and stay, good. Greatness is not about that, man. It's not. It's about the human experience. People aren't joining your shit. They aren't joining your stuff. They're joining and leaving the experience you create with them. And so guess what? I go into heart of the soul, seed of the soul, mind of the soul. Stuff that people don't really see. You're stuck in the science because someone that's leading you has to go to the science because that's all they read about. They haven't been through what's it like to have an office in San Francisco, then an office in Berkeley, and then an office in Tahoe, and then an office in Dallas, and having things happen at all different times, okay? The book can only take you so far. But the one thing that is common is human beings, okay? The one thing that is common is human beings and human behavior. And that'll get me to my third piece, the bonus piece that I want you to understand. So again, let me recap. A, you need to watch your damn game film, okay? You need to watch your game film. You need to inspect everything that you're pushing out there, that you're sharing with people, okay? And you need to read it back to yourself and say, did I just, see, it's kind of like a toxic mimic. It's like, I put people on saved search. Perfect. You just added to, and a great quote my good friend and client Chris Lindahl uses. Perfect. You just added to the dizziness of the consumer. Saved search number 9 they're on. There's these actions we take that are a toxic mimic for work. That's not work. That's not work. It's not. I mean, what are you doing? What are you saying? What are you seeking to understand so that you can be compelling, so you can meet the consumer where they're at, so you can meet your agent you're leading where they're at, so you can handle your retention issues so they no longer are an issue, okay? So that you can handle the recruiting thing without some cheesy, obnoxious thing where you're talking about your split, your stocks, your all the crap that doesn't matter. And I'll challenge anyone on that. Commission splits and all that is BS. It's a big fat lie. How do I know? Because every one of your people could go get a better deal somewhere else today. How come they haven't? Answer that one, okay? I know, because I've been there. All right? It's falling into a trap. Here's the third one. This is the most critical one on the planet. And coming back to this human behavior thing, here's what I want you to get though too. You can't just go study human behavior so that you can use it on other people. You need to study human behavior so you get to know you. The number one thing that you can do is be obsessed with your personal development. Obsessed. You want to grow your business. You want to grow other people. You need to be obsessed with your personal development. Like every day. How can you lead other people when you don't even understand yourself? You don't even understand that you as a leader are top down. You're actually judging people. You're condemning them. You lead out of fear because it's a reflection of probably how you were raised. Whoa, he's going deep. Yeah, because you want to know what? To grow at the level that the organizations grow that I lead, you got to go deep. You got to go deep. Otherwise, you're just going to keep churning and churning and churning and churning. And that's the truth. You can play these games of the language you don't even understand. You're given a script and a dialogue and cheesy language. Well, it works. Do you understand why it works? What if you understood human behavior at the deepest level because you studied, because you watched game film, because you went to the driving range, because you, after 18 holes of golf, because you ran routes after practice, because you threw footballs 1,000 times, even though you're the Super Bowl champion? Okay? Do you understand why you say what you say? Do you understand the responses people give? Or are you just a little robot that uses a little script that was given to you? See, that's the deal. That's why with marketing, you have to spend so much damn money too. You're running a shit ton of money at the market because you're using cheesy language. Well, if you meet your people where they're at, if you understand that people don't choose with logic, the heart chooses, the mind justifies, your marketing dollars are going to go down. It's not going to feel as shitty, when you're having to use cheesy dialogue with people, okay? And you're going to make a lot more money so that you can do really cool things. Because here's my thing. I mean, you may want to make a lot of money so you can live like a rapper. I don't. I mean, I want to live a good life and be in the mountains. That's cool, okay? But I want freedom. I want freedom for my family. I want money to be a vehicle so I can get in front of more people. See, if I'm successful, I get in front of more people. And I can get a message of the truth to them. I mean, what's your purpose? What's your money for? What's your relationship with money? That's the other piece, okay? I mean, are you rewarding yourself with it? Here's the final one that I need you to get, that you're missing. See, the problem with those words that you use, that you're getting, you have no freaking clue why you're using them because someone just said it works, okay? And what you're doing is you're being trained with the external decisioning process. The external decisioning process is convincing someone. Let me tell you what happens when you convince someone. Sales skepticism goes through the roof. They go ask a bunch of other people for input, okay, because they question you. Your likelihood of referrals over time is very, very low. The internal decisioning process, the number one way to get a human being to make a choice, make a change, and or move into higher productivity, whether we're talking about someone you're leading or the consumer, is self-discovery. See, when someone discovers something, when they come to the decision and the choice on their own, they're going to defend it. And they're going to brag about it. So you're working too hard. The thing you got to work on is here, man. The heart and the head. That's what you got to work on because it's the truth. It's about human beings. And here's that third piece that you need, okay? Empathy. Stop arguing with people. Empathy. Every time someone says something that you don't like, you don't hear, it's not going the way that you want it to, whether it's in an interview or whether it's negotiations, whatever it may be. People, they argue. Well, I'm going to pull out my tricky, manipulative softball. I mean, listen, the consumer's over it. They get it. If you haven't checked the Harris poll, which hasn't changed much, take a look at where real estate people are ranked. It's because of that cheesy language. Be yourself. Be a human. Empathize. Empathy. That's your bonus piece right there. What I want you to think about in every conversation that you have, I want you to think about in the copy that you write, I want to think about when someone is rude to you, when someone is not appreciative of you. I'm going to show you how to win, and it's empathy. All that tricky language shit that you guys get, there's an empathy in it, man. Empathy will win. You will lose every single time. And when I say every single time, I play the long game. See, the reason a lot of people have to churn and churn and churn their business, whereas you watch people's business grow and they even get more free time, it's because some principles, okay? But they're not the the shit that's all sexy, the 10X and all that shit that you keep buying but wonder why you're stuck, okay? And I'm not saying 10X is wrong, but the point that I'm getting at is there's things that are underneath it so you can 10X. That are real and true, okay? Focus on what works. And what works is empathy. So I hope that each and every one of you, if you're striving to get that $100,000 income, you know what? Watch your game film. Watch your game film, okay? Go to the driving range after you play your 18 holes, okay? Go run your routes. Listen to your voice as you're recording that #1 hit that you're going to make, okay? Listen to it. Then revert back to your principles. Revert back to the foundational pieces that got you where you're at, because the interesting thing is it's always the tiny hinges that swing big doors. It's always the simple things. It's the things that you got past, that you forgot about. Go back to the basics all the time. This stuff really isn't rocket science. It's really not. Whether you're a real estate agent or you're a leader or a team leader, a broker owner, manager, you're in the moment creation business. You're in the moment creation business. People and people are attracted to energy. And that's not some ethereal thing. Partly it is, but they're attracted to an energy, and they're not attracted to a combative energy. Okay, they're attracted to an energy of empathy. Okay, they're attracted to an energy of empathy. They're attracted to an energy that seeks to understand and be understood. So watch your game film. Do even more practice after you perform. Practice after you perform, and put empathy in your business. I hope that you found that valuable. I know it is, because there are things that I was taught, there are things that I did, and those are things that I'm doing in my business every single day. So that's it from Chep Land. Peace out.